Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into cognitive dissonance.
Ah, yes, that feeling.
Right, that mental tightrope walk.
Hmm?
When your beliefs clash or, your actions don't quite match what you think is right.
It's a really uncomfortable feeling, actually.
Exactly. And we're digging into why it bugs us and how our minds try to fix it. We're drawing from the source cognitive dissonance reduction.
Okay.
So yeah, why does this internal conflict happen and what are the brain's go-to moves to sort it out? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Cognitive dissonance, it's basically that psychological unease you get when
Right.
you're holding conflicting beliefs, maybe, or you act against your own values.
And it's not just minor.
No, it's a genuine tension. See, our brains, they really crave consistency. So this internal clash, it creates this drive to get back to harmony.
When our minds are kind of like neat freaks for our thoughts.
Ha! You could say that. They like things tidy.
So what are the common ways we try to, tidy things up mentally?
Well, one big one is justification. We often shift our beliefs a bit to match what we did.
Okay, like how?
So, say someone eats pretty unhealthily, even though they know the risks,
Yeah.
they might start telling themselves, oh, those risks are probably overblown, or, I'll definitely start eating better tomorrow. Classic
Not
justification.
laying it. What else?
Denial is another powerful one. Just refusing to even acknowledge the conflict exists.
Ah, the head in the sand approach.
Exactly. Someone who's maybe deep in debt might just avoid looking at their bank statements, pretend the problem isn't real.
So we're essentially like editing our own internal story.
We are, to reduce that conflict, that uncomfortable feeling.
That's interesting. So it's not always about changing what we do, is it? Sometimes it's just easier to tweak how we think about it.
That's a key point. And what's really fascinating is how strong this drive can be. It can actually reshape our attitudes and beliefs over time.
How so?
Well, you become more likely to really embrace beliefs that make your choices look good, even if they weren't your original beliefs.
Hmm.
Think about someone who goes through a really tough, maybe embarrassing initiation for some group.
Okay.
To justify going through all that hassle, they might end up thinking the group is way more important or valuable than it actually is. It makes the suffering seem worthwhile.
Right, so the belief changes to match the effort. These aren't just small tweaks then.
No, they can become quite deeply ingrained attitudes.
Can you maybe give us a quick snapshot of a study that showed this?
Sure, there's a classic one, Festinger and Carl Smith. Basically, they had people do a super, super boring task.
Okay, sounds dull.
It was. Then they asked them to tell the next person waiting that the task was actually really fun and interesting.
Ah, so they had to lie.
Right. But here's the twist. Some people were paid quite a bit of money to lie, like $20, which is a lot back then.
Right.
Others were paid basically nothing, just $1.
$1 to lie.
Yeah. And guess what? The people paid only $1 were much more likely later on to say they actually found the boring task enjoyable.
Wait, the ones paid less liked it more. That seems backwards.
It does, but it shows dissonance.
Yeah.
Lying for $20, easy justification, I did it for the money. But lying for just $1, that creates more dissonance. Why did I lie for almost nothing?
Ah, so to reduce that discomfort.
They changed their own attitude. They convinced themselves, you know what, maybe it wasn't that boring after all. It justifies the lie.
Wow. Okay, now this gets really interesting. Does everyone deal with this stuff the same way, like culturally or based on personality?
That's a really important question. The basic need for consistency, that seems pretty universal. But how we feel it and how we fix it, that can vary.
How so?
Well, think about cultures. Some really prioritize group harmony over individual expression.
Right.
They might use different strategies to reduce dissonance than, say, more individualistic cultures. Also, personality matters. Someone who's generally okay with ambiguity might tolerate more internal conflict.
Than someone who needs clear answers.
Exactly. So our background and personality definitely influence how we smooth things over internally.
Okay, so we all want to avoid that mental friction, but how we do it isn't uniform. But does all this mental gymnastics actually lead to real, lasting changes in behavior?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's complex. Sometimes, yeah, just adjusting our thinking is the easier path. We change the belief, not the action.
Right.
But that feeling of dissonance, that discomfort, it can also be a really powerful motivator. It might push someone eventually to actually change their behavior to line up with their core values.
So it can trigger real change sometimes.
It can. It's not always just mental tricks.
And I imagine this must come up a lot when we face difficult choices, especially ethical ones.
Oh, absolutely. Ethics is a huge area for this. When we make a choice that feels a bit questionable, the need to reduce that dissonance can really warp our judgment afterwards. We might rationalize the choice, minimize the harm,
To feel less guilty.
Precisely. And over time, that rationalization could even subtly shift our actual moral compass.
That's a bit worrying. How does our ego, our self-esteem fit in?
Yeah.
Does having high self-esteem make this worse?
It seems like it might intensify it, yes. If you generally think of yourself as a good, smart, consistent person.
Which people with high self-esteem often do.
Right. Then acting in a way that contradicts that positive self-image, that inconsistency feels even more jarring. It creates a stronger urge to fix it.
So they might be more motivated to change their behavior.
Potentially, yes. Or to engage in some serious justification to protect that self-image.
It's also interconnected. Now, I've also heard these principles get used, well, maybe used on us, in things like marketing or persuasion.
Oh, definitely. Dissonance is a tool in persuasion. Think about the foot in the door technique.
How does that relate?
Well, if someone gets you to agree to a small request first, like signing a petition, you've made a small commitment. Later, if they ask for something bigger, like a donation, refusing might create dissonance. I already showed I support this cause. Why wouldn't I help more?
So you feel inconsistent if you say no.
Exactly. You might feel more inclined to agree to the bigger request to stay consistent with your initial action. It creates a sense of internal pressure.
Clever. So dealing with this internal tug of war, it sounds mostly like avoiding discomfort. But could there be an upside? Could it actually help us maybe grow?
That's a really insightful way to look at it. I think so. Facing that dissonance, that internal conflict, it forces you to examine things.
Examine your beliefs
Yeah.
and your actions.
Why do I believe this? Why did I do that? Is there a mismatch? Resolving it isn't always easy, but it can absolutely be an opportunity for self-reflection.
Leading to maybe more self-awareness.
Definitely. And maybe leading to a more integrated sense of self, where your actions and beliefs become more genuinely aligned over time. It can be part of learning and adapting.
Okay, so to wrap things up then, the big takeaway seems to be this really powerful, fundamental human drive for internal consistency.
That's it in a nutshell. Our minds are constantly working, often unconsciously, to keep things harmonious inside.
And the ways we do it are pretty varied and, frankly, fascinating.
Absolutely. Understanding cognitive dissonance really reveals a lot about the clever, sometimes strange ways our minds maintain that balance.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about. When have you noticed yourself, or maybe someone else, unconsciously shifting beliefs to line up with actions? And what were the long-term effects of that mental shift?
Great question to ponder.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.